it's fair to say this week got off to a awful start. All of you will have seen this, of course, towards the end of Liverpool's title-winning bus parade on Monday. A car ploughed through a crowd on Water Street in Liverpool city centre, injuring 47, including 27 who were taken to hospital. 2 people, including one child, suffered serious injuries. You saw the scenes in the aftermath, absolutely horrendous, quite frankly. Arne Slot, Virgil van Dijk, Jurgen Klopp, Jamie Carragher and other current and former Liverpool players and staff sent messages of support, and we, of course, send our best wishes to those recovering from the incident and to the whole Liverpool community who have endured such a shocking event. So not a good week for Liverpool, for the country, for everybody involved.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, it's unthinkable that people go to a parade to celebrate an amazing title win and have to deal with this. And our thoughts are here at the Ramble with everyone affected, of course.
Yeah, indeed. Right, gentlemen, I want to turn our attention to Aston Villa and more of the fallout from the controversial, it wasn't a goal, was it? The controversial decision to disallow Morgan Rogers' goal.
Is this going to run and run?
I think so. Well, even as I say that, Luke, he blew up before the goal went in, so it wasn't actually disallowing a goal, was it? It stopped the goal being scored.
VAR didn't even have an opportunity to get it wrong, did they?
No.
Aston Villa, can I offer you a Jack Grealish at this difficult time?
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it?
Would you like a little Jack Grealish?
Tie a little bow around his nice haircut.
Yeah.
And say,
sorry about the non-Champions League football, but Jack Grealish would probably do a good job in the Europa.
I love Man City going, hang on a minute, Pugmole.
You can't
don't get to offer up a Jack Grealish sacrifice without our say-so.
80 legal challenges. We've lopped off a few. You can have them.
It's turning into currency now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
What genuinely though, what mileage can this have? Because we've seen Aston Villa
play the game again.
And we've seen there's a precedent for that as well. Well, Arsenal are going to come to the fore.
It's all Arsenal's fault.
Aston Villa have done a letter. Basically influenced heavily by Arsenal's letters.
Done a letter.
Well, it's like Aston Villa are the Nirvana.
Right.
Forest and Arsenal are very much pixies.
Okay.
When you said about replaying the game, I was going back to Arsenal Sheffield United.
I was going to say, that's what I was going to go on to say. That was who was it? Was it Warnock that kicked off about that, and Wenger agreed to it, right?
Possibly.
I don't know if it was it
no,
Warnock?
maybe I can't remember.
I think it was Warnock at Sheffield United.
Whatever it was,
with the amount of money we're talking about getting to the Champions League, no one's going to go, let's replay that one. Brilliant.
But I'm just wondering whether you guys think it's got the mileage to take us through the summer, because otherwise we've got the Club World Cup and that's it.
The funny thing is that Emery said of the incident post-match, it's normal. I make mistakes every day. Today I made mistakes. Players make mistakes on the field. Sometimes with referees we have to accept mistakes. I believe
made one.
Yes, indeed. I believe in VAR, and we have very good referees in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Then Aston Villa issued a statement, of course, sometime after the final whistle. Aston Villa can confirm the club has written to the Pugmole to raise concerns over the selection process.
Because Monchi, head of football operations, is going, why have you said that? We're doing a letter.
You've really undercut my letter.
Tippex the letter now.
It's surely a good cop, bad cop thing, though, right?
Maybe it is.
Yeah, well, with such high stakes surrounding the fixture, the club believe a more experienced referee should have been appointed. The guy's Premier League referee.
How many rodeos is too many? Like 13 rodeos. That seems like enough rodeos to me.
Well, totally, I
a lot's been made of the fact that Michael Oliver was on VAR for the Spurs game instead, and he's one of the most experienced referees. I think him and Anthony Taylor are the most experienced referees, and Pugmole have decided not to put him on a game.
Right.
But my point on that was just I guess to extrapolate your point, which is, if you think Thomas Bramall, who does sound a bit like, his name makes him sound like he would lead some kind of peasants' revolt.
Smash up a spinning Jenny or two.
Yeah. Well, maybe put a clog in the lace-making machine of progress as part of the Luddite movement. But my point just being that, as Pete says, he's either good enough to do it or he's not. It's only retrospectively that you've gone, well, there's a really good referee not refereeing this game, and he should have been refereeing this game.
It's a nonsense argument.
You should be able to as far as I'm concerned, if you can referee a tour in the Premier League, like you say, you've done it 12 times, whatever it is, then you should be able to make that decision. It's not a tough decision.
Yeah. And it may have, and it's only in hindsight that it's such an important match. The match between, I don't know, like
Chelsea and Forest was a big game.
Chelsea Forest, the Newcastle game as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just as big.
Do you know what I'm thinking, Emery, though? I know where Emery's playing it down, because he's thinking the last thing I want is to be back in the Champions League. I'm a Europa League player. I will deliver you the Europa League.
Qualify directly now.
Yeah.
I am absolutely hating this.
Yeah, I don't think there's any issue with Villa writing to Pugmole. I think
But you
it's
would say that,
completely
'cause you-
no, but I think it's completely fair enough to
You're a
raise.
letterman yourself.
Let me finish. I think it's completely understandable
David
that
Letterman.
they'll have a problem with this. But I don't
Jim,
think
come
there's
on,
any
that was a
need
good
to, I
joke.
don't think there was fine. I don't think there's any need for them to publicise the fact they've written the letter.
No, just
But
write it
that's
quietly.
That's what
But what do you think of Sky changing their tagline to "Believe in Letter"?
I think they're not helping, actually.
You letter, you letter, you let.
Yeah, nice. That's a bit more of a retro one.
Bit more of a retro one, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is that Arsenal did the open letter, right? So you've got a letter over here, but
I
over
don't think
here
it was an open letter, was it?
it's open if people can hear it. I see it.
Yeah,
Read
but-
it?
They put it out on Twitter, didn't they?
I think if something's an open letter, don't you? Isn't there a sort of kind of format to it where you address it as an
All
open
right.
letter? To
I think you make
All
it
right,
public.
dudes.
yeah.
Hi, fellow
Do you
kids.
disagree with that? Surely, if a
it's-
club has an issue with this,
I think
it's
they probably
reasonable
feel like they
for them
have to.
I
to
totally
put more
agree with
about
your
it.
point. I think the process is, if you're unhappy with the decision, you want clarification. To be fair to Villa as well, they did say, look, we accept it. It's not going to change. But we do want we want to know what the process is here, and we have concerns. Just send them a letter.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
No, I agree with you. I think if you put it out there publicly, all it does really is it serves to pile pressure on Pugmole, which maybe they want to do.
And Thomas Bramwell now as well. When
Yeah,
he's not busy
and-
smashing up looms, he's going to have problems like this.
Exactly. But I think there is a feeling, isn't there, that and you hear this from quite a lot of different angles, that perhaps Pugmole isn't quite at the standard it needs to be. A lot of people will say, who know a lot more about refereeing than I do, will say things like there's not enough of a pool of referees, that we need more good quality referees to engender some competition to make the standard higher. But the biggest undermining of that point that people in football make is that, well, you are contributing to an environment which means people don't want to referee.
Yeah.
So it's hard to find people at this standard. And actually, whether any of us here like it or not, and any Aston Villa fans like it or not, I think that the principle is this. If you want people to get better in any walk of life, you have to give them the room to be able to make mistakes. And high-profile mistakes, while not ideal, and if there's a problem around Thomas Bramwell not being good enough as a referee to do this, and that's a different problem. But if he's not given the room to actually make a mistake in his job and learn from it, you're never going to get people that are better at it anyway.
Well, I agree with that totally. But I mean, it's crazy that former Pugmole chief Keith Hackett.
He's always wading in.
Well, he said that Pugmole made a poor management decision in appointing Bramwell to officiate the game. No, they never. They didn't.
He's a
officiated
qualified referee.
Yeah, exactly. He's a qualified referee in a game where, let's be honest, we didn't think would be that keenly contested. It was big for Villa, but it was a total nothing game for Manchester United. And this if this chat happened before the game, I wouldn't necessarily agree with it, but you would say, hang on, there's a bit of an inexperienced referee. Look, it's a bad decision. I understand he from the angle he was at, I can't quite remember, but the ball bounces around.
Behind his hand does get stood on slightly. That's all I'm
he has
saying.
two hands beside the ball.
Goalkeeper's done well to get away with a lot of criticism.
He has, yeah.
He really has. He's got away with it completely.
He's like a basketball player, wasn't
Totally.
he? Whoa.
I think the referee shouldn't have blown for VAR reasons and for it wasn't in his
a
hands.
foul.
But clearly the referee thought he had control of the ball because at one point each hand is right next to either side of the ball, and from the angle he's at, I can understand that. Yeah, it's a bit of a shock. You can see what's happened there. It's a total sickener for Villa. It doesn't mean to say that they were guaranteed Champions League, but of course it would have been a huge step towards
Close as
it.
they could have been, I suppose. That's the upsetting thing.
Indeed, and I get it. And unfortunately, these things just do happen.
You should
But this
be able-
idea that now we know that this Thomas Bramwell this and always there's a black mark next to his name and all this sort of stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't think it solves anything.
You should be able to easily win at Old Trafford with 10 men. That's
Correct.
point number one.
Well, certainly with 11. I mean, what are they doing going in at 0-0 at half time?
They're deflecting from that.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'd have given this match to David Coote. Because
Right.
one, he definitely hates Liverpool, which helps Man United, gives them an even it up a bit. But all you know at the back of your mind that he's completely off his tits. So it wouldn't matter. And I think for a final game of the
He'd
season,
be focused though, wouldn't he?
it'd be a lovely treat for the rest of us.
He'd be there for an hour looking at that.
David Coote wouldn't even start the game because he thinks there's 30 players on each team. We can't start the game. We start the Alamo out here.
Have
It's
you
absolutely
pre-written
ridiculous.
these? You're disgusting.
No, I haven't. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your opinion on David Coote refereeing this game instead? Surely you've got a view
I don't
on
think
it.
he's in the frame. He's been thrown off the horse. The rodeo's ended for him.
I know.
He's got to find something else to do now.
We've not got enough good refs at the moment.
Bring him back.
It's been exacerbated by the fact that one of them has Doesn't
He's
say naughty.
covered himself.
What a question that is. What's your opinion on this I'm talking about?
Yeah. This straw man.
Oh, dear.
I am fairly confident that even if Villa had scored that goal, Man United still would have won. Because
They were the better team.
But have you seen Villa's record against Man United in the Premier
Yeah.
League? They've beaten them like 4 or 5 times.
Lean into the chaos
it's
theory, Jim.
astonishing.
Lean into it.
And I think I made the point, but I attributed it to the wrong team. Their goal difference wasn't good enough for that for that to happen for them. So, unlucky lads.
Says Newcastle United fan.
Tenali's off. Tenali's off to Europe, lads.
So,
yeah, you would say that. I would
Yeah.
say that.
14
I would.
goals difference between them and Newcastle.
I'm writing a
We got
letter.
absolutely battered on the YouTube for not giving Newcastle fans. We gave
We
Newcastle.
give him a B plus, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I'd like to have that out of you, to be honest. That's astonishingly fair from you.
I think
Before
that's
you go
the
into it,
only grade.
Let me just remind people what we did. So we graded every team in the Premier League
Yeah.
this season for the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And from A to F, obviously.
yeah.
And we gave Newcastle, what, a B+.
B plus.
I think that's good.
It'd
writing- I'm
be
writing a letter.
the only grade.
Twat mole.
The only grade I think I would change in
They
hindsight.
should have got an A, apparently,
No,
They should have got on here at least.
B minus. I'd give it.
Yeah. for complaining.
For complaining.
For complaining, yeah.
One more comment. C.
Right.
Well, there we are, everybody. I don't
B+
think
is a great grade. You get into a top university with a B+.
I'm writing a red letter, and you're going to go
here we go.
wakeboarding.
An open red letter?
An open red letter.
Yeah, but also as well, it's just our grading.
It is
Yeah.
just
That's
that
all
way,
it is,
yeah.
doesn't matter.
It's just opinions, isn't it?
But they were bloody good opinions, so check out the video.
Yeah.
Please do.
over at the Football Ramble YouTube channel. So yes, Villa will be in the Europa League next
They
season.
can win it.
Of course they can.
Yeah.
Of course they can. Matheus Cunha almost certainly will be in a Manchester United shirt next season as well. We know that he is drawn to a bit of chaos.
Is he sentient?
I don't know.
I'm still surprised he's not kind of waited around to see if he's got any other options, because he would surely have other options.
I reckon they're going to activate his release clause. According to David Ornstein, they've done that, 62.5 million.
Yeah.
And then as soon as when he arrives at Old Trafford, holds the scarf up, and is on the pitch having his photo taken, I reckon Jim Ratcliffe's going to instantly make him redundant. There you go, bang, free agent.
Strange move from old Jim,
Saving
that would
money.
be, but we've come to expect it. Interestingly,
Oh, come on, talk about what he said. Read the quote.
Cunha said in March, I've made it clear that I need to take the next step. I want to fight for titles, big things. I have potential. So
Yeah.
Wolves finished the season in 16th with 42 points. Above them, and minus 15 goal difference. Above them in 15th is Manchester United with a minus 10 goal difference also on 42 points. So you could argue it's a step up. Winning things. I mean, they were in a final, of course, this season. Cunha said, I have potential. Well, one side we know don't have potential is Manchester United. So can he bring
all of the potential?
Indeed, Jim. That's what I want to know.
I think is it fair to say they haven't got potential? I think the whole point of that,
Indeed,
what's so
well, that's the
funny is
point.
they have got potential, right?
But what do you say? Manchester United have got potential.
Oh,
It's not confidential. They've got potential.
Exactly.
Running around.
A lot of those players.
Speaking like a true absolute radio DJ.
Yeah, running around would be a start.
Well,
I know, right?
Clearly, Man United's potential
Yeah.
is bigger than any other club in the world, other than probably Real Madrid, isn't it? The potential's
Oh
there.
yeah, okay, no, I like that.
Okay.
In the same way that like a vacuum, like air wants to get in there, doesn't it?
It does. When
Success wants to get into Man
Is
United.
it the same way?
Yeah,
Well,
just fuck it.
So what? In the sense that
Keith, fuck it.
JD Vance has got the potential to be a better bloke or a good
Right.
bloke than say you.
Stop having to go at JD
I don't know
Vance.
where you're going with
obsessed.
that. He's having a go at JD Vance. He's making me sound worse. It's just like when I said James Horncastle reminded me of Ted Cruz and he got pissed off.
I'm saying
I
no
don't
that
think
you.
that's that unreasonable.
No, but what I-
I was affectionate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is JD has got.
Ted Cruz went to fucking Harvard.
Ted Hughes.
Ted Hughes.
He went
Don't
to
have a
Harvard.
poet laureate.
He's well educated. No, what I'm saying is
And the Zodiac Killer.
you've got less.
His dad killed JFK. That's a fact.
A fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
A fact.
It is an absolute bona fide fact. That's why people tune into us to hear the facts.
Yeah.
Good point, actually.
What were you going to say, Marcus? Sorry. I'll be honest with you. I'd lost a lot of interest.
No, I'm saying that you're much further down the line than JD with regards to being a good bloke.
Thanks.
Right.
You know,
Okay,
you're on your, you know, but so he's got more potential than you.
Yeah.
I think Man United have got a lot of potential. It's being absolutely burnt through at a record rate.
Yes.
But clearly, if they can find someone to be a better owner, someone to be a better manager, and quite a lot of better players, I think the size of club could sustain a good amount
yes.
of success.
Cunha wants
agree.
what he thinks he has potential. Obviously, he thinks that Manchester United have got potential to be better. Is it going to be a match made in heaven, Pete Donaldson? Or is he going to be another little devil with the red devil?
Or is he going to steal everyone's glasses?
I fear
They
it
can't do
might
their
be my positing that Old Trafford is the site of some kind of deep buried radiation aspect. I think
poison in the water.
Poison in the water. I think it'll be another forward player that they will absolutely ruin.
This is it, isn't it? We've seen this happen so many times where a player moves on and you think, you know what, that could be really good. This could actually kind of start to kind of unlock it a little bit, and then they go there, and as you say,
someone has to pass to him. Someone has to pass to him, and he's not going to get it.
I know,
not going to get the ball.
But surely, though, with some of their other forward players, you're thinking Højlund and Xerxes and so on, didn't have Premier League experience.
Yeah.
But we know
one would argue they don't have now. The way they've treated themselves.
And experience.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, that's fair. But surely, though, Cunha... I think he's the type of player that if nothing's happening, he'll get pissed off and he'll just smash one in from 25 yards. Which, let's be honest,
that's one then.
Well, maybe that's what they need. The idea of buying, he'll work with a system. No, sod your system.
Right.
Just get a bloke who you know can hit them from distance. Because that's all you got.
He's a really, really good player.
He
obviously improves that team. And it's sad in a way to say this about Man United, but it feels like a bit of a coup, actually, doesn't it? We did wonder what sort
Still got something in them. Still got some lead in their pencil.
From because of how strange this season has been, and I think that's a really good sign.
But then where does he fit in the system? Because you're thinking, is he going to be
where will
right
the other good players go?
Well, does he go right up top?
Probably not.
Or does he play as one of the number 10s?
You would think he plays one of the
number 10s. And you'll know.
He's best of the 10. He's best of the 10.
But you'll know that somehow it'd be mismanaged.
Yeah, of course.
Massively. Well, I mean, look at this. It shouldn't be the focus. This shouldn't be the first sign. This should be defenders who can fit into a 3.
They probably haven't even checked with Amorim.
This sounds very much like a right.
The order that they sign people in isn't a problem, though.
No, well, is it? No, I think it is. I think it shows that it's completely rudderless in the transfer market.
I was going to say, Jim, with PSR and all that, it could well be a problem if they've spent a lot of money on it.
If they suddenly can't sign anyone else, maybe. But
aren't they doing it on layaway? Aren't they doing like they want to do it in 3 payments?
It's Klarna.
We've Klarna the situation. I don't know. Yeah, like that. It'd be astonishing if he doesn't go there, because, as I say, at the time of recording,
Ornstein's talking about it.
If Orney's talking about it, then we're taking it as read.
Orney's put the flag on the pitch. Let's play football.
Damn right. Damn bloody right.
If Orney says it's happening, Cunha's got no choice but to go.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the power Ornstein's got. What you want to do is just get Ornstein to tweet that the world's best player is going to Arsenal. Because he's obviously well connected to Arsenal, and then that player has no choice but to go.
Exactly. As happened with Nicolas Pepe.
Florian Wirtz to Arsenal. Just do that, Ornstein, with a load of alarm emojis.
20k a week.
And he's got to do it.
See, that's the thing with Fabrizio Romano. He's one, isn't he? I'm like, I'm not too sure. When it's Orney, I'm checking. I'm like, Orney's quiet.
Romano concentrates on the graphics too much.
I think.
If you know Orney's quiet, you're thinking, there's still discussions.
Yeah.
The rug could be pulled from this.
I know David quite well, and I don't know Fabrizio.
Right.
And I think it's an unmitigated disgrace.
Yes.
That every time someone talks about Ornstein, someone else just packages it up with Fabrizio Romano.
But I'm doing it. I'm saying the
who is not a credible character in any way.
Yes, but the shtick is calling out certain big stories, and I'm saying that we trust Ornstein.
We do. Yeah. Ornstein's done like 15 years man and boy in the sharp end at the BBC, honing his journalistic skills. Romano's got 14 mobile phones and 50 14-year-olds tweeting for him, and everyone puts him in the same bracket.
No, it's only for the contrast for me.
Yeah, fine.
It's not like you and JD where they was in the same.
For fuck's sake. What are you doing? Where are you going with this?
Oh dear, I'm going to a break.
Some of the bodies you've got buried. I could
go on then.
I could say something like, you're a bit, but I won't.
Right.
I've just typed into a random player and team generator. James Maddison, Aston Villa.
Yeah. Ornstein, get on it.
Get on it. Yeah. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Ornstein's kind of taken over from me, because, unless I said it was happening.
Yeah, you had your Wicked Whispers, didn't you?
Back in the day. You were the Wicked Whisper guy. Before that, I was more Stradamus. That went by the wayside.
Yes. But I've outsourced it now to Ornstein.
Lewis Diaz.
He seems to have more contacts than me.
Lewis Diaz to Brentford.
If you want to stop Pete doing this, you need to press that break button.
One more. Jared Bourne, Crystal Palace.
So for me, it's not the end of my career to come in South Africa. This is why I want to change. And to be honest, I'm really don't worry about what the people say.
Well, back to the Football Ramble, everybody.
Duncan Ferguson.
reading a new chapter. That was, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo calling Saudi Arabia South Africa.
Nice.
Very different countries.
Yeah.
But Cristiano Ronaldo, though, how about this? On Monday night, he scored the 800th goal of his career in a 3-2 defeat by another Saudi Arabian side to finish third in the Saudi Pro League. Not good enough. Following the defeat, he posted on his X account, "This chapter is over. The story still being written. Grateful to all."
I know that he's an idiot and he's spent the last couple of years in a terrible league. But
£177 million a year, Pete.
But yeah, he was the silly one. 800 goals. I mean, that is an astonishing,
incredible
haul.
Yeah. That's the problem, isn't it? You know how good a player Cristiano is, and
for not an out-and-out striker for a lot of his career as well.
Yeah, what an amazing career he's had. But he's also a fucking prat, and we have to contend with that every time we talk about him.
And the story now is that he essentially might be parachuted into the Club World Cup just as essentially further PR for this tournament. And I think it just shows
I should say, by the way, it's 800 club goals.
Yes.
Yes.
So actually scored more in total.
I think it makes the whole thing look kind of silly and unserious, and also a bit out of date because they're trying to manufacture a kind of Ronaldo v Messi one last dance type of
Why
thing.
not Ronaldo and Messi?
Is he going to become like the Undertaker? They just sort of like in the next Club World Cup he'll only play the final.
Yes,
they'll just wheel him out for big events and
just for that. Yeah.
What's
There's
really,
a weird podcast.
What's really interesting about it is that Gianni Infantino has spent quite a long time now on a very, very industrious PR campaign to make people, trying to convince people to take the FIFA Club World Cup seriously, because the background of it is, of course, players didn't want to do it. FIFA Pro, some other players, unions are disappointed about it for obvious reasons.
Ancelotti's left Real Madrid because of this.
There's no room in the schedule, blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to fight for it to become something that it never will become. But he's doing that because he feels like UEFA's got all the cards to play and there's a big battle going on, right? And then he just can't resist. He just cannot resist having this kind of, but if we can engineer a way to get Cristiano Ronaldo in there,
that'll save it.
Because they've FIFA even opened up a 10-day extra transfer window between, I think, the 1st of June and the 10th of June, so players could move to Club World Cup qualified clubs to play there, which is about the most transparent thing you can do to say this is really undermining the quality of it. Because the qualification process of the clubs going in is also fucking weird. And then,
they just chucked it into Miami at one point.
Yeah, and to cap it, because Lionel Messi played them, and to cap it all off, he announces this on what I can only describe as the weirdest media interview I've ever seen with the YouTuber and streamer IShowSpeed on the IShowSpeed, who, by the way, he's one of the worst human beings on earth, right, without question. And he's done it on IShowSpeed's YouTube channel in his bedroom with a double bed in the background. But for the majority of the interview, it's Speed showing Gianni Infantino his music videos, which he hasn't prepared in advance. So they sit around for 30 seconds while he tries to find it on YouTube, followed by Speed's YouTube compilations of his greatest skills as a football player, and he's an awful football player.
You can tell halfway through IShowSpeed's completely checked out and he's like, this guy's so boring.
Yeah.
And that's the funniest part, isn't it?
Because he's sort of Infantino's obviously really nervous, isn't he? And he's trying to come across as cool. And Speed keeps kind of hugging him and kind of just being very young around him. And Infantino tries to sort of mirror that and behave like he acts like that all
Speed's
the time.
Quite his whole thing is unpredictability. Like, he barks like a dog for most of his streams. Like he's a madman.
He feels like the sort of kind of naughty kid in the class, doesn't he?
He's
getting lots of attention, and that's
too many
fine.
sweets.
He's 20. That's who he is and what he does. But Infantino is completely out of his depth there. And the Club World Cup is in the middle of the screen under a cloth. It's very, very obvious what that is. Speed sort of, I think, pretend he doesn't know what's under the cloth. And then when they pull it off and reveal it, Infantino tells Speed that it has a magic key.
Yeah.
Well, like, this just dealing him having to sort of deal with a caught jester and just sort of go, this is too unpredictable for me. We're spending a lot of money on this. I have to get this right first time. This is live on stream. And Infantino just sort of going, I don't know how this has gone. I don't think this is going very well.
Today I feel a little bit streamy.
Yeah. You can't go in there with a massive trophy and start talking talking about a magic key to a 20-year-old kid in his bedroom.
No, you may as well turn it with some rabbits in a box. Look at these guys.
Yeah. I mean, Haribos.
If you're a great entertainer, which Infantino, of course, is, it's always important to do something that no one else is doing.
And I should also say, by the way, speed is speed. But look, we haven't got time for this now, obviously. We don't want to bring the mood down. Just look at his rap sheet. Look at his rap sheet. It's bad.
In the grand scheme of streamers, though, it's
fine.
in the grand scheme, like his major contribution in that direction was about 3 weeks of streams from communist backed state media. It was just like
he's done loads of sexist stuff though.
But to be honest, they all have. And so
but you can't absolve people.
I'm not absolving of that, but they all have, and that's kind of the space that young male streamers seem to find themselves.
Well, hang on. So by that token, then, if we're saying that Infantino's FIFA president has said some stupid and quite potentially damaging thing, you can't go, well, it's FIFA president's for you.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. They don't. What I'm saying, my angle on it though is just that I'm not taking issue with what you say, because I understand that's the ecosystem, and we don't have to agree with it, but we accept that it exists. What's kind of frustrating about that to me is that it's almost writ large, the whole Salt Bay thing again on the pitch at the World Cup. You are the president of FIFA.
He's going to get IShowSpeed out with a trophy, isn't he?
Of course he is.
No, but
it's going to be all over it.
At no point, Infantino at no point just goes, I understand he's a big streamer. I understand he's got a big audience. We want to speak to a younger audience. We want to get the PR version of it. But this is not brand safe for me or for FIFA because of this stuff he's done. But he doesn't think about that kind of stuff at all because he's completely beyond reproach. There's no oversight at all. So he just goes around and does whatever he wants. That's why he can stand up on a pedestal and say, I don't care. Well, effectively, Qatar's not a problem. Saudi Arabia's not a problem. We're going to change the bidding process because there's no oversight. And for him to go and align himself with someone like Speed, I do think it's a problem. The same way it's a problem if he went on with Aidan Ross, or who's I think quite close to Speed, or anyone like that. These are hugely problematic people.
Well, exactly.
The ambassador for the world's game is alongside.
Yeah, and I think Infantino doesn't look at himself as the president of FIFA. He looks at himself as the president of football. This thing that we all love.
And what he says goes, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. And I think it's in a weird way similar to Jose Mourinho in Turkey, where he's taken the cue from the populist leaders and go, actually, you can sort of do what you want, and it doesn't matter.
I wanted Duncan Ferguson to pop his head in, just his head, and call him a baldy bastard.
That
would have been enjoyable.
If you don't like IShowSpeed's work, just watch him in the Royal Rumble when Bron Breakker
I saw
absolutely
that.
spears him to fuck.
It was one of the best things I've seen.
One of the worst.
Well, the
spears
reason
in
why
wrestling.
we mentioned this was because Infantino told IShowSpeed that Cristiano Ronaldo might play for one of the teams at the Club World Cup. He said there are discussions with some clubs. So if any club is watching and is interested in hiring Ronaldo for the Club World Cup, who knows? So he sort of started he said that they would have negotiations. Then he kind of opened it up on the stream.
He'll be part of that, won't he?
There's talk he's going to a Brazilian club.
Well, apparently John Texas Botafogo are interested in signing Ronaldo. And asked about the prospect of signing Ronaldo, Botafogo manager Renato Paiva said, Christmas is only in December, but if he came, you can't say no to a star like that.
I do think like Ronaldo's kind of brand right now isn't perhaps as strong as the numbers would suggest. Like Fatal Fury, the video game that was released quite recently, absolutely tanked, despite being backed by the Saudis, but being backed by Cristiano Ronaldo being in the game. It was on every. I think that Eubank fight was renamed Fatal Fury for it.
There was a big bus campaign in London and presumably other cities as well. Like there were wraps on the buses.
I saw one of those buses this morning.
It was on. It was on the WrestleMania, all of WrestleMania, all over the big fights and stuff. They've spent so much money on this. The golf tournaments as well.
This is a diminishing return with Ronaldo.
Yeah,
he's basically raging against the dying of the light.
I mean, he's 40 now.
Yeah.
As Jim said.
These other stars are coming through, Bellingham and Mbappe, Yamal. The world moves on, right?
And he's not cool. Like he's like fundamentally as a man, he's not cool.
But you saying you're no use for a name T-shirt?
But he's got the same kind of vibe as that man who fires lasers on testicles. Like he's that kind of like quite sort of like Ken doll kind of like sort of weird man these days.
I know what you mean.
He's not going to age gracefully. Let's put that. He's going
to feature in the Club World Cup. It's going to be a big quote reveal, isn't it? And everyone's going to have to get on with it. But he's not going to make a meaningful impact in it. He's going to be there for the brand of Ronaldo rather than what he can bring as a player. But he's a free agent.
And we'll eat it up.
He was going to be out of contract, I think, this summer anyway. So, I mean, it's not a huge surprise it's happening. What is quite interesting is the fact that no decent European side are going to sign him because he's not good enough.
I mean, there are two Portuguese sides. in there. Porto and Benfica, not ones that he obviously came up through Sporting. It would
Sporting, they're actually, everyone calls them Sporting Lisbon in Portugal, mate.
Do they really?
Yeah, Sporting Lisbon.
I forget what the real one is these days.
I know. That
just to
started
upset
out about
Andy,
6 months ago just to piss off Andy, and now we've got completely tied up in it.
Would you like to see him at Inter Miami with Messi? Would that be quite romantic? Auckland City? Are they
Auckland City would
That
take
would
him,
be
yeah.
funny.
That would take him, yeah.
Would that be not for them though?
No. Well,
I think he could pop up somewhere. Infantino's acting like his agent. We shall see. It's going to be a shit show. But again, what's good for the Ramble may not be good for the footballing world.
Yes.
Now, on a different matter, Erik ten Hag is the new manager of Bayer Leverkusen.
life comes at you fast. doesn't
How
it?
about that, Jim Campbell? Indeed, not that long ago they were the German champions. Not that long ago, Erik was an FA Cup winner. So
Yeah, I suppose it's a good match in a sense.
you look at it like that.
It's an interesting choice, actually. I think to go for a kind of, I suppose we call it Erik ten Hag an experienced old head now. After them having quite a young, dynamic manager in Xabi Alonso, but obviously they're going to lose Jonathan Tah to Bayern, and he will be a free agent after the Club World Cup. And Leverkusen are insisting they give them £1 million if they want him to play in the Club World Cup, which I love.
Frimpong's going.
Frimpong's, I think, gone already, isn't he? And Florian Wirtz is probably going to go. There might be some more as well. So it's a difficult job this to come into. So perhaps that's why they've gone for experience and more than a kind of another new up and comer.
And look at the season they had under Alonso last year, right? I mean, never mind this year, second in the league, Champions League team again. They've got this reputation as being Bayern Leverkusen for years.
Yeah.
They go for this undefeated season in the league. So it's big shoes to fill. But I think what it does also say is it says that, because obviously Leverkusen are an exceptionally well-run club these days, right? But what it says to me, I think, is that it's, in a way, a kind of sideways dig at Man United, because what they're saying is, the environment there is so poor that we're actually not going to judge you too harshly on what you did at Man United. We're going to look perhaps at what you did at Ajax, where you get to the semi-final of the Champions League, where you do really well, and we think that you're a good fit based on that experience.
Or that first season at Manchester United.
Yeah, or the fact that he's just dealt with such adversity at United, it's going to make him a much more rounded, experienced manager as well. I like it as an appointment. I think it's quite interesting. But as Jim rightly says, there's a lot of stuff to manage, literally, because of the fact that they're one of these teams who's perhaps a little bit, I want to say unfashionable because that's not the right word, but perhaps not quite fancied. And we see this happen all the time with a Dortmund or an Ajax, or in this case a Leverkusen. The best players just get plucked, don't they? And you've got to rebuild again. You've got to find a way to go again.
Yeah. I mean, Ten Hag said in his unveiling, he said one of the things, the club offers outstanding conditions. I've been very impressed with the discussions of the management. Could that be seen as a dig at Manchester United?
I'm very much enjoying the fact that I don't have to bring my own laptop to work. Little things like that. Nice to have a coffee in it.
There's no leak in the roof.
There's no leak in the roof.
No leak in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Yet. Imagine if Leverkusen went to absolute shit and everyone just went, it actually was Ten Hag. It was Ten Hag in the
Whatever you do, don't get Amorim to replace him.
Did he bring the mice, or have they just come here on their own? What's going on here?
That came out again yesterday, didn't it?
Did it?
That
I
came out.
missed this.
United have now been awarded 2 stars for food hygiene, whereas before they got offered 1.
Okay.
Because although the authorities, the food inspection people, acknowledged there had been some measures taken to try and resolve the problem of mice, it was nevertheless still there, just not as bad as it was before. So you get 2 stars.
Was one of them doing a little ratatouille? Because that is an improvement, isn't it?
One of them
work with what you got.
One of them they've thought about hiring as a new left back.
Is that right?
Yeah. Trying to think of a pun around rodents, but it's very difficult off the top of my head.
Maybe a Rat King would be better.
Rat King might be better.
It's on the ball, shuffling it around. It's really horrible. You won't want to go near it.
Did he play number 10, Mason Mouse? No, that doesn't work.
Mouse and
Mouse.
Mouse and Mouse.
Yeah.
This shot
Mouse
is real
Rowie.
end of season 5, isn't it?
Shut up. Do a pun or shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Mouse Rowie's there.
Erik ten Rat.
He's not even there anymore.
Oh, I know. All right, Erik ten Rats.
Ratmus
There's 10
Hoyland.
rats.
Yeah.
Ratmus Hoyland. Come back on
Signed
board.
Rats Hummels, Gordon Bennett.
Rasmus Hoyland is probably the best you can get.
Ratmouse Hoyland. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more for any more?
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
Well, elsewhere.
Oh, goodness me, that's a lot of rats.
Da lot of rats.
Da lot of rats. Da lot of rats.
Elsewhere in Europe.
Good heavens! That's a rat!
So it could be Aiden Heaven because he's still there. It's good heavens. Johnny Evans has left now.
Bruno Fernandes a rat.
No, keep going now.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Go on, what else you got?
Yeah. Oh, nah, there's a rat. I'm done. We're gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right then.
Come on, move it
Retire
along.
Stillix.
Stop
Okay.
getting involved.
Right. Elsewhere in Europe, Kylian Mbappe has won the European Golden Shoe for the first time. What do you think of it being called the Golden Shoe?
It has
In this
been-
country, we're very much the boot.
I think it's always been called the shoe, hasn't it?
I know.
I think it was originally called the shoe, wasn't it?
But they don't play in shoes, do
Shoe.org.
they?
Well, that's a good point. It should be. They should take a leaf out of Accuracy's book and bloody say boot.
It'd be the Golden Cleat in America, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Exactly,
it would.
yeah.
It would. Some great names on the list of winners.
Yeah.
I mean, but I know you've got that kind of Ronaldo and Messi whole like duopoly for a while, but then Luis Suarez did kind of muscle in there and did.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got them in front of you, which is disappointing. But, he's only the third Real Madrid player to have won the Golden Shoe.
Interesting. So
Who's-
obviously
who-
Cristiano,
Cristiano, but you have to go all the way back.
Hugo Sanchez.
Hugo Sanchez.
1990,
Yeah.
38 goals in 1989-90.
How about that? And of course,
How about rat?
Sorry. Yeah, Golden Shoe is, of course, for those who don't know, presented each season to the leading goal scorer in league matches from the top division of a European national league. Goals scored by players competing in Europe's top 5 leagues are worth 2 points. Goals from those who play in leagues ranked 6th to 22nd in UEFA's coefficient, including the Portuguese league, are worth 1.5 points. And then goals from the remaining players competing in the lower ranked leagues are worth just 1 point. So despite Victor Gyökeres scoring 8 more goals than him, 39 to 31, Mbappe took home the award.
And the coefficient doesn't seem to be working that well because you have to go all the way back to 2002 for Mario Yardel
That's right.
to win it when he was playing for Sporting, and then the year before that,
Which it was
legend.
Ali McCoy?
the legend Henrik Larsson, mate.
Oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
thought you were.
Henrik Larsson did it in the Scottish Premier League.
Sorry, yeah, I got my dates well mixed up. McCoy did it in '91, I think, didn't he?
McCoy didn't do it in 91. That was Darko Panchev, the great Darko Panchev of Red Star Belgrade.
Is McCoy in there at all?
He's not in there, no.
Oh, I thought.
Well, between 92 and 96, the award wasn't actually awarded. So that could be why he's
okay,
not been
maybe.
Anyone
given
could
the
have got
nod.
it then.
Yeah.
I had it.
Yeah, you had it.
I had it.
At
Start that
13-year-old
rumour.
13-year-old Pete
Pete
Donaldson. Who were you playing for at the age of 13?
The Brian Honor Club.
Brian Honor Club.
The Brian Honor Club.
Nice.
There we are. Not
The coefficient for that is probably quite low.
Probably wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe a
Not top
Sunderland
league.
player won it though once, Peter.
Yeah.
Kevin Phillips.
Correct.
Kevin
Exactly.
Phillips, yeah.
Hey, Phil.
That was in 2000.
Hell of a performer.
A hell of a performer.
I mean, I think he got 30 Premier League goals
Yeah,
that season.
that was astonishing, wasn't it? Maybe the golden foot makes more sense.
There is a golden foot, Jim, already.
Yeah, there you go.
That's in the Monaco. It's in the Monaco. What do you call it? The Promenade or whatever. Isn't it?
Right.
That's the golden
Oh,
foot.
that's
I think,
right, yeah.
Which is a lovely award, quite frankly.
Would you like to see an award of the Golden Head for the most headers every year?
Yes.
Or someone who just
golden
never breaks their
bonds.
metatarsal. Just their
golden bonds.
metatarsal.
Hmm.
You just wanted to say metatarsal.
The
didn't you?
steel
Say
metatarsal.
yeah.
Yeah, indeed,
ACL.
yeah.
No one someone who never gets an ACL.
Were you ever top scorer for the Brian Honor Club?
No, I was about 2 years older than everyone else as well. Just pathetic.
You were 2 years older than everyone else.
Felt like Gianni Infantino.
Yeah. But so basically, the Brian Honor Club has like a England under 21s type feel where you can have 2 players over.
Yeah,
an age.
exactly. Yeah, I
And
was
you
an
were one of
overager,
them?
yeah.
Okay.
I was still technically developmental.
Did you ever score a goal for Brian Honor Club?
No, it wasn't really that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a volleyball. All right, moving on from Brian Honor. Carlo Ancelotti has landed in Brazil.
Yes.
He's touched down in Rio. He was pictured with the Brazil shirt. We haven't seen him in his Y-fronts yet. It's a matter of time. Ancelotti said, today you can watch all the matches anywhere in the world. You can watch Flamengo, Palmeiras, Botafogo. Now I need to spend some time in Brazil to get to know the structure of Brazilian football. But I also want to have a holiday to enjoy the country. I've never been to Corcovado. I'm not going to work 365 days a year. I also want to have a holiday to enjoy Brazil. You've said holiday twice now, Carlo. What sets Brazilians apart is that they can do serious things and also fun things. I like that.
Priorities very clear.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Fair enough.
It's an amazing move. I mean, we haven't really had the time until now to go into it in any kind of detail at all.
Saying holiday twice at that statement.
Yeah, but I mean, I know what you mean, but at the same time, like,
Yeah.
it's a really, really tough job.
And it's
Like,
a,
It's an incredibly
it's a
tough job.
huge country, and you kind of you want to get to know the country that you're managing, right? You want to get a feel for it. Everybody understands what the World Cup means to Brazil. Everyone understands what the national team means, or we at least think we do. You know,
Relatively
you have to
speaking,
immerse yourself in it.
You do, Jim, and I totally get
from
that.
the beach.
Yeah.
Or the carnival.
Very different country, of course, all the rest of it. But if Thomas Tuchel had said the word holiday twice in his opening thing at Taking England,
What are you doing? You get the centre part.
I understand Brazil, because of the obvious, is like a more obvious tourist holiday destination for the likes of us.
Oh, is Thomas doing an interview at the Tower of London? He will
Can
do
we not just get 5 minutes? He's straight off to M&M's World.
Yeah, he will do the squad announcement, but he's doing it from the roller coaster at Alton Towers.
That's right.
But the other thing about the whole kind of thing here is that so you can understand, given what he's achieved at the age he is, that he wants to go into the international job, right? And I guess if you're going to be super fair to Ancelotti, you would perhaps say it's been translated in a certain way, but what he means is this is not a day-to-day job like club football is, right? And it's a great country to be in. He's being complimentary about the country, right? But if you read Jack Lang's piece in The Athletic, Jack Lang is expert in Brazilian football, has been for years and years. He wrote a piece in The Athletic, and the title of the piece might tell you everything you need to know, which is Brazil are a dysfunctional mess.
Yes.
Good luck, Ancelotti. And it ends with, he's now forced to immerse himself in Brazilian domestic football with its half-empty stadiums, scrubland turf, laughable refereeing, strategic short-sightedness, and a crushing sense of ennui. Like, Brazil are in the doldrums.
They are.
If you look at their squad, I actually don't want to get too over the top about it, but
here we go.
The squad they've got at the moment
anti-Joe Linton rhetoric, unbelievable.
Is full of players who, in the era we grew up watching Brazilian football, are nowhere near it. Yeah. Nowhere near it. And he's got to find a way of essentially delivering a World Cup, because as Jim's already alluded to, in the same way Tuchel's on a short-term deal to deliver the World Cup to England, Ancelotti's on a short-term deal which runs till the end of the World Cup. He has got to make a silk purse out of this sow's ear, because there's no way on earth, Richarlison, a 33-year-old Casemiro, Anthony, these players are anywhere near a good Brazil squad.
Yeah, there's also in terms of the amount of time he's going to have off. There's not just getting to grips with the sheer scale of Brazilian football and the size of the country. It's also, there's probably not another nation on earth with such a big diaspora. So there's going to be a lot of trips to Europe to watch players and all over the shop.
That's why he doesn't want his son to get a job.
Yeah, so he can stay in Europe and do that. Yeah, maybe you're right.
I know what you mean. You can't play down the enormity of this job, and the fact is the CBF have been courting him for a while now. And he's gone there, and it's
so much pressure to deliver.
Well, it really is.
He feels like he's supposed to be a magic bullet.
Come on!
There we go.
We go live to Carlo Ancelotti now.
I'm on board.
That's all he's hearing.
I'm on board.
During all of the meetings about this
they're trying to
all I can hear is the Samba party.
I feel like I'm studying a tiny little pair of trunks on the Savannah Beach now.
Oh, I want him like Scott McTominay smoking fags in a vest. Lovely.
McTominay having a tab on the bus.
Not only on the bus, everywhere else. He's been spotted in the last week.
Having a lovely little dance with a Neapolitan lady, wasn't he? See that?
Yes,
great stuff.
Absolutely.
He's getting Marcus Speller hair, which I'm very, very on board with.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah.
Well, Ancelotti, can he get that hair now, or is he a bit too old?
His hair's still good. His hair's
good. Let's be honest, he can do what he wants. Yeah. But this job is huge, as you say. Like you saw those Brazilians who, one or two he might have played with actually back in the day, like Falcao and stuff. But the names lining up to wish him well, and then Big Phil Scolari had to hand him over the shirt, and all that sort of stuff.
Remember this?
You're right, Jim. It is massive, this job. This is not... Because if Tuchel turns up and if England disappoint, then I think Tuchel... People say, well, they shouldn't have gone for him anyway and all this kind of stuff. I think there's more pressure on Ancelotti here.
Yeah.
I admire...
He has done Everton in recent memory, though.
It's true.
That's
because they have a much wider existential and philosophical problem in Brazil, which is that investment's poor. They lose all their players earlier and earlier. They've obviously an amazing, historically been amazing, to say the least, at bringing through this talent. That talent doesn't play in the Brazilian league.
Political ramblings at the Brazilian Federation.
The guy who's hired Ancelotti spent, I think, almost 2 years trying to get him. Yeah. You could have spent 2 years trying to focus inwards and investing and working out how you could get the Brazilian football to be back on its feet again.
But this is a proper MacGyver job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm all for it.
Just
I don't
win
know
the
why I
World
sound
Cup with
like
an eyebrow. If anyone can do it.
I sound like I'm against it. I'm not against it.
yeah.
I'm all for it.
Although if England do find themselves in a match against Brazil and Ancelotti's on the
We'll get
touchline,
beat.
then yeah, that's what I mean. So I am against
Anthony will score a fucking hat trick probably.
it. More on Anthony after this. Tonight, Real Betis versus Chelsea. It's the Europa Conference League final, the one we wait for
This
every
is
year.
more of a reminder for people.
The season isn't quite finished.
Stuck away on a Wednesday.
What about this for a bit of romance? Tonight, if they win, they'll have a complete collection.
First
of
team to
European
do it, I
trophies.
think.
First team which would ever be able to do it. Obviously, the Champions League, they've won. The Europa League, they've even won the Cup Winners' Cup back in the day, which, of course, is now defunct. But they could do it. And it would be the first piece of silverware under Todd Bowley's ownership. The romance would be dripping from Stamford Bridge if they could win.
Dripping with romance.
I think it's quite hard
Yeah.
to think of a less romantic place in the UK than Stamford Bridge.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Tell me a less romantic place. An abattoir. An abattoir.
Any motorway?
Yeah.
Aberdeen Airport.
A motorway service station.
Yeah, okay.
I don't subscribe to the idea that people think airports are depressing, but because
I don't think
because
they're
I
that
do find them in one way quite depressing. But there's always the potential you're going somewhere else.
They're romantic, but Aberdeen has very. I mean,
Why Aberdeen did you choose then?
I'm just sort of thinking the most depressing airport experience I've had was in Aberdeen.
Oh.
Right.
Where a bus crashed into another bus and the driver started crying. Fair
enough.
And
You only got those on
if we've learned
There's
one
some
thing,
feeling there.
the only place that airport goes to is oil rigs probably, or I couldn't have planned on oil rig obviously, but also Cornwall, wasn't it? That was where
That was the Neil Warnock
That was
route.
Neil Warnock route, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think anywhere travel based has an inherent romance within it, though.
Sure, it must do. Well, look,
B&Q.
there would perhaps,
Yeah, but there's ways of making B&Q romantic. If you're going there, you just move to a new house with your
a
partner.
barbecue's not romantic, Jim.
Yeah, you're right.
Build a lady out
You
of
don't do them
patio
in there,
deck.
do you?
Sorry,
There you go.
you can build a lady out of patio decking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well, can I just say, Aberdeen Airport themselves have at great pains to show you on their website all the destinations you can go to.
Okay.
And I'll just give you a quick list. Alicante,
yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Copenhagen in Denmark, Geneva in Switzerland.
That's
You can
pretty
go
good
to-
actually. Yeah. Sorry, everyone.
We were about to preview a European final, and this is what we're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
We're listing destinations you can fly to from Aberdeen Airport.
Tenerife, Stavanger.
What about-
Stavanger in Norway?
Well, what about Poland, where the final's being played?
Weirdly enough, these are all teams that Chelsea have played in these groups.
This is genuinely, I think, a very interesting game.
Finally, Chelsea got a proper opponent.
Well, there's not just that, but it's a Spanish opponent, and I'm sure people
Yes.
remember this really impressive record that Spanish teams have. They're unbeaten in 28 finals,
Whoa.
which stretches back to 2001 when Valencia lost to Bayern Munich and Alaves lost to Liverpool in 2001.
And of course, the caveat is a Spanish team has lost in the final, but it's to another Spanish
to
team.
another Spanish team.
And that
that's
Alaves
happened a few
final against
times.
Liverpool, they lost 5-4. It was a mad
Yeah,
game.
it was
I'm pretty
basically
sure
an own
Jordi Cruyff
goal
played,
kind
didn't
of involved in it. So that is very, very interesting. They've beaten English teams 10 times in that, and this includes international football as well.
I remember.
I think, yeah, don't we all? So Sevilla have got 7 Europa Leagues and a UEFA Super Cup in that, so they will laugh particularly hard if it's Betis that can't keep this up.
Yeah.
Enzo Maresca scored twice for Sevilla when they beat Middlesbrough 4-0 in 2006. So
How about that?
this is it does feel slightly magic, this, doesn't it? So Chelsea are up against it here.
Yes.
But I think I still favour them, I think.
There's narrative, though, with Maresca, of course, because he played under current Betis boss Manuel Pellegrini at
The
Malaga, I
engineer.
think it was, yeah. He was his assistant at West Ham, and Maresca called Pellegrini, no, he didn't. He called him quite the opposite. He called him his professional dad recently. Isn't that nice?
That's nice.
That's great.
Professional dad.
So do you reckon what's going to happen is that Maresca's not going to turn up for the final because he's going to be lazing about in bed, ignoring his
yeah.
dad telling him to get out?
No, I think Pellegrini's going to arrange for the kick-off time to be earlier.
Yeah.
And then go, oh, you didn't make it on time, did you? Come on.
Clean your room.
Would he call him his professional son?
Maybe.
He's dead to me. Yeah. No chance.
Could be like Tony Soprano and AJ,
Yeah.
couldn't it?
Well, Maresca was fuming that Real Betis were given 2 days extra by La Liga to prepare for the final, of course. In that final day or final game of the season, they drew 1-1 with Valencia, and of course, Anthony scored a beauty.
He did. Although they're without a win in 5 games. Betis.
Yeah, you wonder. So whatever happens, Betis will be in the Europa League next season
Yeah.
anyway because they've already qualified for it during
So
the
they
league.
finished 6th in La Liga. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, not a bad season, considering you look at the teams that are above them in the league. So they're no mugs. This is not a situation where they've completely prioritised the European trophy and then they've finished 15th or whatever it would be in La Liga. So they're a good side, and as I say, they're the first really proper side you would say that Chelsea are going to play, because every other team Chelsea have come up against, it's just, especially over 2 legs, I mean, thinking, how on earth could Chelsea lose this game?
If you watch, I mean, there's obviously no point watching the games. I mean, weirdly enough, I did actually watch the game. They beat Noah 8-0. But the semi-final 2 legs against Djurgårdens, who are, I mean, their season in Sweden is at a different stage, right?
Yes.
They're about 11 or 12 games in. Djurgårdens are down in the bottom half. They were in the semi-final against Chelsea. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to Djurgårdens because they're a team with a very different budget and different resources, and it's probably a little bit of a mismatch anyway. But the standard of defending, particularly for that 4-1, it almost just makes you think, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And what's the point of this? And so if you were looking for reasons why Real Betis could do something, beyond the 2 things that you guys have said, i.e., the fact that the Spanish teams in finals are good and them being no mugs in La Liga, you'd wonder whether the squad and the team that Chelsea have been using in the Conference League this season has really been tested. You wonder whether is there a flat track bully element to it? It's almost a bit like in boxing when you see fighters taking on novices and journeymen and all this kind of stuff, and they actually step up in quality to fight someone good. It's the old Mike Tyson thing. Everyone's got a plan so they get punched in the face, right? Betis clearly have players that can hurt Chelsea. Yeah. And again, it's as ever, it's about managing the occasion. So it's the first... It's damning it with faint praise because it basically makes the competition itself sound like a joke. Yeah. This is the first game of interest in this competition this year, and it's the final. Right? So that tells you what you need to know. And I think it speaks to the idea that while I think in principle the Europa Conference League is probably quite a good idea, they can't mitigate against teams having an off-season and qualifying for it and then just running roughshod over the whole thing. Yeah. Which, if Chelsea win easily tonight, you'd have to say that's what's happened.
You would, yeah. Giovanni Lo Celso is doubtful for the final, which is a shame.
Great player to watch, Lo Celso.
But there are 1 or 2 familiar names. Obviously, the aforementioned Ante and Lo Celso's is another
Isco's
one.
In there.
Isco as well, yeah. So
be a nice Indian summer aspect to Isco. I think Isco's just been called up for the Spain national squad again after many, many years of being away. So that's interesting as well. Isco
could have played for Man United, but they decided his head was too big. Was the story, wasn't it?
What the hell?
Wow.
Remember that?
I don't remember that.
The story is, I'm sure it's apocryphal, but they did a scouting report and concluded that his head was too big for his body. So
I think that's
against signing him.
It's like when,
I think it's worth bringing up though, Marcus.
No, I was going to say it's a bit like when Ferguson didn't like Jordan Henderson's gait, was it, or something?
Right. It's all about the teeth, though, isn't it? It's all about beckham and head and jaw and stuff.
Beckham at Milan was that, wasn't it? That was something that affected his balance and stuff.
Something like that. Yeah.
But Ferguson did do a good line in essentially undermining all the players Liverpool signed.
That's right.
Like, remember when he said that Charlie Adams' corners alone were worth an extra 10 million or something before Liverpool tried to sign him,
pushing the price up. Yeah.
But on the game tonight, I mean, Isco at his best.
Yep.
Probably doesn't get anywhere near enough credit because of the players that were around him at Real Madrid. But he was a fantastic player to watch.
But their man of the season is Anthony. Like, obviously, there's stuff happening in, that investigation is still open with him here, and all that kind of stuff. But since he's gone to Betis, the on field, he's been a revelation. Was it Joaquin, their former player, who said, we need to sign a petition to keep him here. Now, financially, it's very unlikely they'll be able to afford any kind of transfer fee from realistically, although there are discussions he may go on loan again next season from Manchester United. Who knows? We shall see. But as I say, in pure footballing terms, at Real Betis, he has been magnificent and they love him there and he is loving life there. So, it seems sort of cliche that the player that we're focusing on is the player that we know best, really, in that side because he's been playing in the Premier League recently. But it is the player one has to focus on because of the performances he's been putting in for Betis, the numbers he's been getting, and the crucial goals. I mean, in the semi-final, he was the difference maker.
Yeah, and I think Isco would be the one who's delivered better numbers for around the same amount of games. Though Isco's the class act in the team, and will play number 10, and everything will probably go through him. But it's a fascinating final. I mean, speaking of players that we love, Jim, presumably you love, Hector Bellerin's out as well, which is a shame.
That is a shame.
That is a shame, Jim.
Yeah.
So, who will you be supporting in the final, Jim?
Hector.
Right.
I mean, I would prefer Real Betis to win if you want me to say something.
Yeah.
Peter?
Well, I'm going to keep my powder dry because I'm going to be on Ramble Reacts later with Andy Brassel.
Yeah, that's it.
I have to be impartial, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Unfortunately, that's given the game away.
I don't want anyone to win.